So our word today is intend. Intend, have as one's aim or plan, or intend, design or destine for a purpose, be meant for the use of. So intend is a very fascinating word. And intend, so it goes to Latin intendo, and this tendo means a stretch, to stretch, to stretch out, to extend, and to extend is related to this same root, which is this Proto-Indo-European root from which the Latin is derived, which means simply is tend, T-E-N-D, to stretch, to extend. Now, consider with intend that we have also attend. So to intend is to set an aim or a plan or to have a design in mind for something, is to stretch one's mind towards some intention. To sort of stretch out one's mind in a particular direction, to intend. Now, to attend is very analogous, actually, quite related. Well, the word attend and attention is from the same root. And the thing that seems to have happened with attention is we get this idea of paying attention, paying heed to words, to what is being said. And again, stretching one's mind towards, which is what attention essentially is a stretching out or an extension of the mind in a particular direction. If I pay attention to the words that are being said, I'm attending to them. Attend, intend, both related to this pi root tend, T-E-N-D. We have similar ideas related to this same root. Let me sort of check what I've got here. So, of course, tent, a tent, if I go out into a field, if I put up a tent in a field, what am I doing? I'm stretching out, extending some material, maybe around a pole, let's say. You extend it around the pole and you dwell in this stretched out. You dwell under the stretching out. That's what a tent is. A tent is a stretching out. Tendon. Tendon are these, I don't know if they're fibers or what exactly they are. They're not muscle, but they might be muscle. But they basically like connect muscle and bone and allow for movement of my arm. I'm moving my arm by tendons. Yeah, the tendons allow me to stretch out my arms and my legs, etc. Tendons, I'm just going to emphasize the tend again, is there. It's in loads of interesting words. So it's there in intend, it's there in attend, it's there in tent, it's there in tendon, as I was just saying. Another interesting one is temporality. Temporary. Temporality means to do with time. And if I'm having a temporary stay somewhere, I am having a stretch of time, that is, in that place. I'm there for a stretch of time, which is what temporary means. It means a stretch of time. So a tent means a stretch of material in which I can dwell. A tendon means a stretch of tissue which is flexible and allows movement and allows extension. It allows stretching, is what the tendon does. And temporary is a stretch of time, an extended period of time is what is temporary. Well, actually, temporary would be not very well extended, I suppose, but it's a stretch of time, however long that might be, is the temporal. So those are a few interesting things about this word. Oh yes. So okay, so yeah, I went down like a sort of few different associations with this. I find this project so fascinating because I don't know what the right analogy is. But I suppose it might be something like, I don't know, a root system or a tree that's giving forth lots of fruit or something. But once you sort of take a word and you sort of go down into the Latin or the Old English or the Old Germanic and then go down and have a look at these like Proto-Indo-European roots, you often see this like broad, luminous and incredible network of associations that underlie our language or the English language, which is like a network of meaning, and it's really fascinating to see the way in which language has developed according to these nexus, these sort of clusters of meaning. Yeah. Anyway, so intend. I'm stretching up my mind. A comment about why this word's interesting to me is that I have an interest in philosophy, and I have an interest in the continental school of philosophy known as phenomenology. And core to the phenomenological project is an insight from Franz Brentano in the 19th century, who said that intentionality is the characteristic of mind. Mind is essentially characterized by intentionality, Brentano thought, and this means that mind is always about something. It's always stretched out, shall we say. It's always extended to whatever. So the mind, if you're watching this video, is stretched out to the video, to the words or whatsoever. It's attending to this video right now, or to the various phenomena which we may attend to. But Brentano's point is that the mind is essentially intentional. This is to say that it's always stretching out to its various objects. So that's why intent and intention and intentionality is interesting to me, among other reasons, but that's one of them. So, yeah, okay. So let's go to this idea, which is that, so we say like it's an intent. The Proto-Indo-European word is tend. This tend, or actually it's ten, T-E-N, and it's relate and tend as well. And I think they both mean the same thing, so I understand. Tend or ten, T-E-N, stretch, to extend, tend, to stretch, to extend. These, okay, so what was the point I was trying to make? The point I was trying to make is that to stretch material, think of a tent. What is a tent? A tent has to be taut, it has to be tight, when it's stretched and it's extended, it's tight, yeah? It's under strain, yeah? This is like a tent, like literally like a stretched out tent is um under strain. And this is why the word intense is related to this. Because if something's intense, it's basically another way of saying like it's there's a lot of strain, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of tension in it. It's like a high tension, high strain situation. The intensity level is high because there's tension. And this made me think of actually stress patterns in the facial muscles. Like, so if you think of like, look what my face is doing here, like if I'm frowning and if I'm like angry or like stressed out like this, yeah, there's actually tension in my facial muscles. And actually, like if you think of like your muscles and like the skin as like a tent, you say it this way, like it's like stretched and like really uh yeah, basically stretched. Your face is like literally stretched when you're stressed in intense situations, which is like really interesting to me. So like there's like an association between tend, intensity, and such like that, with this sort of high pressure situation, a situation of great tension. Um, yeah, I think that's everything. I mean, like there's a lot of different words related to this tend. Let me say a few of them. I've said a few of them already. So yes, tense, tension, intensive, intent, intention, intend, intense, extend, extent, contend, attempt, attend, uh, pretend, pretend, um, etc. And I mean, it all has to do with this idea of stretching and extending out. And it's interesting to me that a tent is doing that with material, temporary is doing that with time, intensity is well, you could just say that figuratively, like you if you're in an intense situation, then it could just mean that like you are stretched out, like like stretched very thin. Like if like it could be yeah, intense. I don't know if I'm just like playing with words here, but like like intense, like the tent is stretched out, and that stretching out is like a stress, and so there's this relationship to intensity too. And it's interesting to me too that this like stretching out, this extension, I mean, it's also got this association with getting bigger. Um, so you've got this intense element, this tightness element, this stretching out, getting bigger. So, extending territory, extending influence, extending is to like stretch out to get bigger. And like literally like I'm stretching out now, but like that's again like tendons stretching out. So oh, actually I think I read somewhere in this little journey today that the word titan, like the ancient Greek titans, which are like basically gigantic beings, and like Titanic is like a Titanic thing is like a gigantic thing, like a gigantic, a Titanic being. I'm pretty sure that the Greek word Titan sort of ties into this same root we're talking about here. Again, like the idea of like Titanic, stretched, extended, um, like yeah, big, kind of thing. And so I think there's that kind of association. Um, Expansion, you see, because like this is something I've slightly tangential probably, but it's like I've been thinking a lot about sleeping and waking and how like waking is like waking consciousness is a kind of going out or like a centrifugal movement, like a movement away from the center, like the blood starts pumping, the blood moves out into the body, and we move around and we stretch our legs and like we go about and all of this. And I think there might be a connection to the idea of extending oneself and stretching out and the idea of like wakefulness itself, but also like the expansion of certain projects. So like intentions, like to have intentions is to like stretch oneself out in a way. And like it's the same with attention too, because like attending to someone, to like what someone's saying, you have to sort of stretch oneself, stretch the mind out to attend to what's being said or to what's being seen or whatsoever. So yeah, I think that's it for the word intend. It might have a connotation too, of grasping or like holding. And the point with that, excuse me, the point with that is that this is quite interesting because if my hand is loose, actually, I'm not really sure what I think of this one, but like if I'm grasping, like to grasp, like to acquire more or to hold on to. I'm stretching, I'm extending my hand. Now, and I'm putting my hand under the tension. That's the point. Yeah, so I think there's a connection to holding, grasping, power, to extend, to stretch out, to grasp. And so if we think through history of different territorial expansions, there is an intention and an extension of the realm of the territory. And grasping, because look, you can't grasp without tension in your hand. If you release tension from your hand, you can't grasp, literally. It's just loose. Now, sure, I suppose that's kind of extending and stretching too, to like keep it loose, but also like to grasp is a kind of, it reaches you out more, if I'm saying it that way. Like I need to reach out, like to grasp. So intend, extend, attend. It's all this like outward extending, stretching, moving, expanding. And there's also this connotation to like holding, grasping, which I think is interesting. I can't remember, I must confess, the little rabbit hole where I got into the whole holding thing, but I think there's something to that. Like, I don't, well, if you just think about holding something, you have to use your tendons, literally, of your hand to do that. And there needs to be tension in the hand. And if there's not tension in the hand, you can't hold anything. Like holding anything is impossible. And so I think there's something about like holding, retaining, um, connected to this tend word, retaining, holding, stretching, etc. Um, I'm gonna leave it there. I think it's a really fascinating one, this stretching, the way we stretch our mind. It's really everywhere. Like the way you have to stretch your eyes out to see, You know, they say like if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, partly like you need to attend, you need to stretch out your ear to hear the sound, or you need to sort of see the tree fall to see a tree fall, like for the phenomenon of the tree to be given, your eye, your ear, these need to sort of stretch out, or indeed your mind, instead of like these organs or these channels of perception. The mind itself needs to kind of extend itself to stretch out for a phenomenon to be given. And this is Brentano's great insight that the mind is a stretching out, it is a stretching forth and an extension. And then to attend is kind of like holding too, analogously, like to really attend to what someone's saying, or to attend to a vista and a sight before you, or to the words on a page, or whatsoever it may be. You need to kind of hold it, retain it, you know. You need to kind of grasp it, and to do that, you need to stretch out to it and kind of like envelop it maybe, or like hold it like that. So like so like let's say like this is the thing, and then it's like the mind kind of stretches, extends like this, and then maybe we can sort of grasp it, hold it in that way. But it was interesting to me that holding is kind of associated with this, or retention. I imagine retention is probably related to the same etymology, but it's like tension, extension, stretching, holding, grasping, attending. Yeah. So let me conclude the video there. Thanks so much for listening. Um, yeah, if like you enjoyed the video, give it a like down below, and if you enjoyed the content, subscribe to the channel and stay around for some more videos. Yeah, thanks for watching.